Hello, welcome to The Brief. I'm Josh Sanchez, and this is our second episode. And if this is the first time that you've been to one of these briefings, I'll introduce myself real quick. For the last 8 to 9 years, I've been part of the Coast Guard Reserve, and through that experience, I've met some great people on the active and reserve side. And this show is for people like them, their families, and people in the veteran community. We'll also take a look at Michigan's role in national security and military defense. And one of the biggest stories to kick off 2026 was the U.S. military intervention into Venezuela. Hours after the strikes started, Michigan leaders took to social media to share both praise and frustration on the strikes. Maduro and his wife appeared in an American courtroom days after the strikes. He's been charged with several conspiracy-related felony charges, including those related to drug trafficking. In the hours after the strikes on January 3rd, several Michigan lawmakers took to social media. Democratic Senator Gary Peters serves on 2 Senate committees focused on national security and defense. While he said there is no question that Maduro was a dictator and a bad actor, he questioned the military intervention, saying, quote, "The United States does not need to drag itself into another forever war that puts American service members in harm's way and has no end in sight." He went on to say, quote, "The president said the United States will now run the nation of Venezuela. The American people did not ask for this." Democratic Senator Alyssa Slotkin says the strikes serve more as a distraction to issues at home, from housing to healthcare, saying in her statement, in part, President Trump's decision to bomb the targets in Venezuela, depose Nicolas Maduro, and run Venezuela continues the signature trend of his presidency: relentless focus on foreign entanglements and looking tough abroad, so as to distract from what's happening in American pocketbooks. State Republicans rather praised the move, including U.S. Representative John Molinars. He said Nicolas Maduro was a dictator who contributed to narco-terrorism, targeting Americans, and subjected his people to unspeakable horrors. He must be held accountable for these atrocities. I am thankful to the men and women in the military for their bravery last night and pray for their continued safety. Representative Tim Walberg echoed that sentiment and went on to say online, "We all know people who have been victims of Maduro's drug trafficking operation, and today marks a turn towards a brighter future for America and will serve as a strong deterrent against international criminal actors seeking to harm American citizens." And you can find much more to state reactions over on our website at woodtv.com. Taking a look closer to home, military leaders are hoping to continue the recruiting momentum from 2025 into the new year. Last year, some branches were even able to reach their recruiting goals well before the end of the fiscal year. Here in Michigan, the Air National Guard tells me that they were able to meet their goal, and while the Army may have fallen a bit behind by their total, their actual recruitment numbers eclipsed what their goal was for 2024. Recruiter Staff Sergeant Veronica Cornejo starts the day by pulling high school visit lists and coordinating those stops. It's a job she volunteered to do the last 2 years out of the 10 she has been in the service.
I have a Hartford High School lunchroom visit on the 16th.
For her, it's a chance to share something that gave her stability.
Growing up, I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't have a lot of resources. So I was one of those kids that, needed extra resources, someone to lean on.
Amid economic turbulence, she says students she's spoken with are seeking the same.
They're looking at their future and their careers and how can they get further.
In 2024, 719 new members were recruited out of a goal of 1,001. Actual recruitments did beat last year's total with 965 people.
We still were just a little short of our mission, which was very aggressive, actually.
Lieutenant Commander Richie Sands admits it's a miss of this year's goal of 1,067. New benefits have been a driver, he says. Last week, Governor Gretchen Whitmer signed bills lowering costs for health care and child care for National Guard members. Sands says the branch is also changing its messaging to focus on helping one's own community as opposed to a national-focused one.
We're here, we're their first protection if there's a disaster in your community, like the Gaylord ice storms, where we're going to drop what we're doing, our civilian jobs, we're coming, we're going to help our neighbor out.
As for the Michigan Air National Guard, its recruitment goal was reached after a cutback. 2024's recruitment goal was set to 284, with 111 spots filled. 2025's goal was 200 members, which was surpassed by 257 actual recruitments. Like the Army, Air Force leaders believe that the desire to serve and a growing benefits package is driving the recruitment increase. It's also a plus for retention.
Because ultimately, those that are willing to raise their right hand and join the Michigan Air National Guard, this allows us from day one to take care of them and offer them that extra support. And it's only going to, again, not only help our numbers, but help our members and continue to help them while they stay in.
As the 2025 fiscal year came to a close, state military leaders took a moment to recognize the top recruiters of Army and Air National Guard. I sat down with them last month to learn why they took up the job. 30 minutes outside of Detroit sits Selfridge Air National Guard Base and the office of Technical Sergeant Ashley Emsweiler. Emsweiler has been a recruiter for 4 years out of the 8 she's been in uniform.
I truly believe in what we offer, and so I always tell all of my applicants, my families, that I work with, that I wouldn't be here in front of you today if I didn't truly believe in what we have.
Emsweiler was recognized in November as the 2025 Outstanding Michigan Air National Guard Recruiter of the Year after enlisting 45 Michiganders into the branch. It comes as major changes are coming to the base. In April of last year, President Donald Trump was joined by Governor Gretchen Whitmer to announce a new fighter mission, bringing approximately 20 F-15EXs to the base on top of a previously planned arrival of KC-46A tanker aircraft. Emsweiler says it's one of the aspects drawing people to her office.
They're trying to get ahead of that so that way they can be, at the forefront of that big change.
As for actual recruitment, the approach is to put applicants first, she says.
We want people who want to be here, and we want to help them. We want to help set them up for their future and make sure they truly know what they're getting involved with and how it's going to help them.
Sergeant First Class Bradley Plaska was named as the 2025 Michigan Army National Guard Recruiter of the Year. The Ferris State University campus recruiter says it started as a job opportunity during COVID that he never looked back from. He wanted to share the branch's opportunities.
I joined in 2009 as a family tradition, and I just wanted to go to Afghanistan as in the infantry and do the job that my parents and my brother did. But later on in the life, when it did come to the insurance or the VA home loan and all those other benefits that we get, like my life got exponentially better.
Plaska says he did not intend to get the Recruiter of the Year slot. However, several student presentations and helping develop the largest ROTC freshman class in Ferris State's history in 2024 gave him the momentum to drive recruiting numbers. His recruiting totals were 31 new members.
I'm a huge football fan. And so when they say, when you win a Super Bowl, sometimes the ball had to bounce your way, and that's exactly what happened with me.
Air National Guard officials say preparations are already underway for the new fighter mission over at Selfridge. They estimate that the cost will be around $1 billion for the upgrades and constructions around the base. A new fighter maintenance hangar is expected to be completed next month. Every winter, Coast Guard crews are busy with icebreaking operations in the Great Lakes, and despite the cold and wind, those are still busy shipping channels. Last week, a Coast Guard cutter had to go out and rescue a ship that was stuck in ice. U.S. Coast Guard cutter Mackinac WLBB-30 posted a time-lapse video of the cutter arriving on scene. Coast Guard officials said in an email that the John J. Boland was beset by ice near the Mackinac Bridge on January 4th. The cutter's Facebook post shows video of the crew breaking ice around the ship on January 7th. Coast Guard officials say the cutter stayed in the Straits of Mackinac to conduct on-track maintenance for other ships. As federal officials look at the possibility of rescheduling marijuana, researchers here in Michigan are looking at the possibilities of what cannabis can do for vets that are going through PTSD or depression. Researchers in Wayne State University were awarded $30 million across 3 grants to investigate the potential benefits for vets with a focus on PTSD and depression. One study will look at THC and CBD and how it affects vets in the study. While some veterans are already turning to marijuana to treat these conditions, Dr. David Ledgerwood says there's a need for more data.
And primarily the main issue is there's just very few clinical trials, rigorous studies out there that have actually looked to what extent cannabis and for that matter, what type of cannabinoid, whether it be THC or CBD or what other sort of aspects of the cannabis product or way of delivery, way of taking it, so forth, might actually help people, who it may help, and also importantly, who it may hurt.
If you're interested in more information on this study, you can head over to the website warriorcare.net. Speaking with mental health, there's an app that's been in the App Store for quite some time, and that is the Battle Buddy app by VetLife. I spoke with one of the members of the nonprofit to learn more about this veteran resource navigation app. Matthew Leach, thanks so much for joining me today. Can you tell us a little bit about VetLife?
Incredible organization here in Michigan, which helps pair veterans to their benefits, but it's not just to have it end there. It's to promote a more prosperous and a better civilian life for our veterans as they transition out of their military service. And ultimately, we're trying to end that veteran suicide rate that we know is just absolutely out of control.
And One thing that you folks have done as part of this mission to make sure that folks are connected to both mental health resources and also other resources was the Battle Buddy app. Tell us a little bit more about the story behind putting this together.
Would be happy to. So our co-founder, Josh Parrish, is an Iraq war veteran, served in the initial deployment of 03, 04 over to Iraq. As he was transitioning out of the military, realized that we've got a number of issues of getting our veterans connected to their benefits. One, they're not very well informed on the benefits that they have earned through their service. And number two, we don't make it very easy for those veterans to take advantage of those benefits once they are back here, once they are done with their service. So Josh decided that with his wife, Courtney, they were going to start the nonprofit Vet Life, that they were going to focus on the family unit, which we have had great in-person events focusing on the family, whether it's our Vet Fest event that we've had in Fowlerville for the past number of years, which now gets around 4,000 to 5,000 veterans and their families down annually, creating about $11 to $12 million flowing back into Livingston County annually, just from that one event alone. A number of others like our Harvest for Heroes, that we've got a great partner in Kroger where we give away Thanksgiving turkey, not just the turkeys, but the actual whole dinner for hungry veterans and their families here around the Thanksgiving holidays. So through those in-person events, we have been able to help connect over 143,000 veterans in the state of Michigan to a benefit, which is absolutely fantastic. It's roughly about 40% of the veteran population that we have here in the state of Michigan. But Josh and Courtney, being the big dreamers that they are, they're not willing to settle just there. They said that that's another 60% that also need our help here in this great state of Michigan. And of course, the other 15 to 16 million veterans across this great country that also need to be connected to their benefits. So what is the one thing that we have that just about everybody and their brother has here today? A smartphone. So we want to take that same idea of those in-person events of bringing the vetted resources to the veteran in a non-adversarial, non-combative way. And so the way we decided to take that one step further is through our Battle Buddy app. You can find it in the Apple or Google Play stores, Battle Buddy or Battle Buddy by Vet Life. And to date, in a little under a year, we've had close to 350,000 downloads nationwide in every single state.
And one thing that I found really interesting about the app was, it's very easy to use. The login screen asks you if you're a veteran, a spouse, or a dependent. And even at the bottom, there's already the breakdown lists for different resources or different links. And on top of that, there's also a I'm in crisis, I need help type of section to get folks connected right away with someone that can help them out. Just looking at the design of how easy it is to use, I was surprised to see that it takes out all the guesswork in terms of what do I put into Google or whatever search engine to find the different resources to get connected. Why did you folks want to make sure that it was something that was a one-stop for all these resources?
We needed to make sure it was a one-stop for all these resources because, at least to me, to us, it was a little crazy that we haven't had a service or a platform where we've had all of those in one place for the veterans here before. But it was so critical because there isn't one reason why a veteran commits suicide. They don't wake up one morning and say, this is the day that I'm going to end my life. There are a number of things that could lead up to it. There are a number of areas that could be struggling in life. It might be their mental health. It could be homelessness. It could be food insecurity. So with the Battle Buddy app, we wanted to make it as simple as possible. I mentioned earlier that one of the difficulties for veterans is getting access to their benefits, finding the right place to go. There are some resource directories out there that just have a number of people listed, but those numbers don't work. The emails are out of service, and a veteran ends up getting frustrated because they, like so many people, will ask for help on average of 3 times. And by that third time, come hell or high water, they're going to find a solution. And usually that means sidestepping their benefits and finding an alternate route. So we wanted to have, it starts with their benefits. You mentioned the mental health aspect as well, but we want to complete the entire ecosystem for the veterans, so they don't have to search for other resources. They are vetted, they are certified resources that are there to help and are in the best interest of the veteran. So example, for the VA home loan space, you may qualify for a VA mortgage, but if you're going to buy a home, there are other pieces to that puzzle: title, insurance. You might need a realtor. So we are continuing to build out the app to be a one-stop shop, truly a holistic resource for these veterans, for whether it's housing, food insecurity, employment, whatever it might be that they're struggling with here as they transition into their civilian lives.
All right. Well, Matthew, thanks so much for your time, for joining us on the show to talk more about the Battle Buddy app from VetLife. Thanks so much.
Josh, thank you very much. Appreciate you having us on Wood TV.
Thanks again to Matthew for stopping by and sharing more about the Battle Buddy app. And again, thank you for sticking around and watching the second episode of The Brief. Feel free to follow me online at all my socials. Be sure to check out more of our stories as we follow the world of military and national defense here in Michigan. Thanks so much for watching, and I appreciate the support. Thanks.